Welcome back for another deep dive into today's news.
It's going to be a wild ride.
So let's buckle up and dive right in, shall we?
Let's do it.
The big story everyone's talking about is obviously President Trump back in the White House.
It's like a sequel nobody expected.
Exactly. And the markets are already reacting to his first moves.
Yeah, we're seeing the term Trump trade pop up again.
Right. They focus on sectors like energy and manufacturing during his first term.
And now with the Stargate project, this AI initiative,
Some analysts are saying it could have a similar impact.
especially for companies like Nvidia.
Yeah. Milius Research even suggested Nvidia could be the new poster child for this Trump trade.
They're seeing the Stargate project as a sign
Of what?
of more AI-friendly policies coming down the pipeline.
And that could mean big things for Nvidia.
Exactly. Significant long-term growth potential.
But it's not just AI that's turning heads.
No, Trump's energy agenda is making waves too.
Declaring a national emergency to boost oil and gas production.
Definitely stirring things up.
We've got traditional energy companies probably celebrating.
Yeah, but renewable energy giants are surprisingly calm.
They're betting on the momentum of electrification.
They seem to think it's unstoppable.
We'll have to wait and see about that.
Absolutely.
But Trump's return isn't all good news for the markets.
No, his proposed tariff on Chinese goods has a lot of people worried.
10% on Chinese goods starting February 1st.
That's a big deal, and it's already impacting oil prices and Treasury yields.
It'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
For sure.
And it's not just Wall Street feeling the impact of Trump's return.
You're right.
His return to office order for federal workers is causing a stir.
Yeah, a lot of federal employees got used to working from home.
And now they're facing those commuting costs again.
It's basically a pay cut for some of them.
Speaking of the economy, though, the S&P 500 is pretty close to all-time highs.
It is, those strong tech gains are definitely helping.
But amidst all this optimism, we had J.P. Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon sounding a note of caution.
Yeah, he called the U.S. stock market kind of inflated.
It's a good reminder that things can change quickly.
Absolutely.
Now let's talk about some individual companies, starting with Netflix.
They're riding high on a monster earnings report.
And a 14% share price surge.
It seems like their price hike on standard and ad-supported plans is working.
People are willing to pay for their content.
It seems so.
On a completely different note, P&G decided not to raise prices this quarter.
Yeah, bucking a 6-year trend.
But they still beat earnings expectations.
Their baby and feminine care products are doing really well.
People will always need those essentials.
Exactly.
Now let's look at Travelers Coast. They've been dealing with losses from those wildfires in Los Angeles.
Yeah, tough situation.
But they still beat earnings estimates.
Strong underwriting performance helped them weather the storm.
It shows how important risk management can be.
For sure.
Now Schwab, they lagged behind rivals like Robinhood last year.
They did.
But now analysts are saying they're a potential buy.
Revenue growth and the possibility of industry deregulation under Trump.
That could give them a real advantage.
It's definitely something to watch.
Before we move on, I want to circle back to the Stargate project for a second.
Okay.
While there's a lot of excitement around it,
There is.
there's also some skepticism.
Understandably.
Elon Musk even made some comments that seemed to question its potential.
Yeah, his skepticism adds another layer to the whole thing.
AI is such a rapidly evolving field.
It's hard to predict what will happen.
Okay, so let's shift gears a bit.
Sounds good.
Let's move away from the world of high finance and politics for a moment
Okay.
and explore some other interesting stories from the news.
Sometimes those are the most fascinating ones.
Let's see what we've got.
All right. First up, we have a story about a retail crime queenpin who was ordered to pay millions in restitution to Ulta and other retailers.
This is a reminder that retail crime is a big problem.
Yeah, it's not just shoplifting anymore.
It's organized crime.
Yeah.
This case targeted high-end beauty retailers like Ulta and Sephora.
Michelle Mack was the one behind it.
She was orchestrating large-scale thefts,
And fencing the stolen merchandise?
even money laundering.
The authorities are definitely cracking down.
It's good to see them taking it seriously.
Absolutely. Retailers are facing enough challenges as it is.
Okay, so let's move on to a story with a bit of international intrigue.
Prince Harry won his legal battle against Murdoch newspapers.
He got an apology and damages for unlawful information gathering.
It's a big win for him,
He's been critical of the British tabloids for a long time
accusing them of invading his privacy.
and spreading false information.
Yeah, through phone hacking and other shady tactics.
The court ruled in his favor.
They found that newsgroup newspapers had been up to no good.
It could have implications for other high-profile individuals.
Who have been targeted by the tabloids.
It's a reminder that everyone has a right to privacy.
even if you're in the public eye.
Now let's get back to the financial world. We've got some earnings reports to go over,
Let's dive in.
starting with Johnson & Johnson.
They reported a 5.3% increase in sales.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, but their net earnings actually declined.
By how much?
17% compared to last year.
Wow, that's a big drop.
They're facing some challenges.
Like what?
Increased competition, rising costs, and ongoing litigation.
It's a tough environment out there.
It is, even for a giant like Johnson & Johnson.
Okay, let's move on to 3M.
Their revenue was basically flat,
Not great.
and their adjusted earnings declined as well.
What's going on there?
Supply chain disruptions, inflation, softening demand.
It sounds familiar.
Yeah, a lot of companies are facing similar issues.
It makes you wonder about the overall economy.
It's something to keep an eye on.
Okay, last but not least, United Airlines.
They actually exceeded expectations.
Really?
Yeah, both for their earnings and their outlook.
That's surprising given the state of the travel industry.
Pent-up travel demand is a big factor,
People want to get out there and explore.
especially international travel,
Plus, they've managed their costs well.
even with those high fuel prices.
So it's not all doom and gloom.
No, there are bright spots out there
It's all about finding the opportunities.
and adapting to the changing landscape.
We've covered a lot of ground today.
We have, from Trump's return to those wildfires in Los Angeles.
And even Prince Harry's legal battle.
Yeah, it's been a busy news day.
So what's the big takeaway for our listeners?
I think the theme is uncertainty, but also opportunity.
Uncertainty with Trump back in the White House.
Exactly. And his policies are already having an impact,
But opportunity as well.
especially for investors who are willing to take some risks.
It's like navigating a ship through uncharted waters. Right?
I like that analogy.
You have to be prepared for anything.
And that's why staying informed is so important.
Knowing what's happening in the world.
And understanding how it could affect you.
So how can our listeners apply these insights to their own lives?
I would say don't overreact to every headline,
It's easy to get caught up in the hype.
but try to focus on the long-term trends.
And think about how these events could impact your investments.
Or even your career choices.
Diversification is also key.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket,
Spread your risk.
whether it's your investment portfolio or your skill set.
We saw how Netflix and P&G are adapting.
Yeah, Netflix with their price increase.
And P&G focusing on those essential products.
It's about knowing your strengths and your market.
Any final words of wisdom before we wrap up?
I would just say stay curious, stay engaged.
And don't be afraid to ask questions.
The more you learn, the better prepared you'll be.
Well said. That's all the time we have for today.
It's been a great discussion.
We'll be back tomorrow with another deep dive into the news.
Until then, stay informed and stay curious.